hiker falls 600 feet down mountain. Rescuers find her and her new friend. Dogs are man's best friend, and this warm story is one of the best evidence on the everlasting friendship between these canines and humans. Amelia Milling is a deaf 21-year-old student at the Rochester Institute of Technology. Despite her disability, she enjoys going on adventures and trying new things on her own. She had planned a 3-day solo hike on the Crow Pass, a 23-mile trail in the Chugach mountain range of Alaska, a hike that would later reveal to be a turning point in the young Amelia's life. Her hiking trip started very well, however. Only on the second day of the hike, Amelia's student hit some rough snow that made her fall. She broke her trekking poles, and just one wrong step after that caused her to fall over 300 feet down a hill, crashing into a large boulder before she was launched another few hundred feet down the mountain. "I felt like I was flying," Amelia recalled in an interview. When she landed, she was bleeding and bruised in many places. Her first thought about the entire surrealistic and terrific fall was that her dream vacation was over for good, only to realize that her situation was much worse than a vacation ending earlier than planned. Amelia had plummeted 600 feet down an icy mountain, and even though she miraculously didn't have any broken bones, it would still be a challenge for her to find the path by herself in the condition she was in. But lucky for her, she had company that would gladly help guide her back to her way. He showed up suddenly out of nowhere. "I thought he was a wolf at first until I saw the bone tag," Amelia said, recalling the moment a white dog appeared out of the snow. The 7-year-old beautiful husky, who she would later learn was named Nanowalk and nicknamed Nookie, was wearing a silver bone-shaped tag that read, "Crow Pass Guide Returned To," with his owner's address engraved on it. But in Amelia's case, Nookie would return her to where she belonged, not the other way around. Nookie refused to leave Amelia's side for the next 2 days. "He gave me the motivation to get up and walk another 7 miles, Amelia said. "If he didn't show up, I probably wouldn't have gotten back up and kept walking that much," she added, referring to Alaska's version of Lassie after Nookie helped rescue her. Nookie successfully led Amelia back to the trail and even continued hiking with her until it was dark. Amelia set up her tent for the night and invited Nookie inside, but the sweet canine seemed to prefer to remain in the great outdoors rather than getting confined into the small tent. Amelia expected Nookie to be gone in the morning, but when she woke up, the faithful husky was still there. "I realized he really was sticking with me when he greeted me in the morning when I unzipped my tent. He had stayed the entire night next to me," Amelia recalled. It was as though Nookie sensed that its services were still needed, as Amelia was about to get in great trouble at the Eagle River crossing, a freezing, fast-moving river fed by a glacier. "I attempted to cross it twice with no success. On the second time, I fell and the water really pulled me," Amelia said. "I was stuck in the water for more than 15 minutes until Nookie bit my backpack and pulled," she recalled. Even though Nookie rescued Amelia out of the icy water, she wasn't out of danger. Hypothermic and dizzy, Amelia jumped in her sleeping bag to warm up, thinking that her sleeping bag was enough to get over her hypothermia. Thankfully, it was dry since she had put it in a garbage bag in her backpack before she tried to cross the river. But Amelia wasn't safe, not just yet, and Nanowalk knew it. She thought she was going to lie there until she recovered, and then she would sit up and kind of gauge where she was at. She just wasn't recovering. The dog kept licking her, Amelia's mother, Sharon Milling, explained. Amelia wanted to warm up enough in order to try crossing the river again, but Nookie wouldn't leave her alone, and yet again his persistence paid off. "After a while, I took the Spot satellite messenger out of my pocket and then put it on the ground next to my head. When I did that, Nanowalk went into circles. That's when I realized that I really was not okay and that he was telling me to press it," Amelia recalled. "I'm telling you, the moment I finally pressed it, he stopped acting crazy, walked a few feet away, and took a nap. I don't know how, but he knew." Amelia stayed on the side of the river for many hours after the sauce button on her Spot device alerted the Alaska State Troopers and sent a message to both her mother and sister in Tennessee. Even though she tried her best to keep her eyes open, numbness and tiredness eventually overcame her. Finally, troopers at a helicopter spotted her wrapped in her red sleeping bag, a color thoughtfully chosen. As if it weren't for it, she wouldn't have been spotted as easily considering the snowy mountain. As the medics shook Amelia awake, Nookie was curled up beside her. Amelia had careful medical checkups at a medical center in Anchorage, and Nookie was taken home after she was admitted. I was definitely pretty floored. It sends chills up my spine when I think about it. I certainly didn't train him to do anything like this, Scott Swift, Nookie's owner, admitted. It's a pretty powerful feeling that this dog had this instinctive ability to want to go help people. Amelia spent time with Scott and the Nookie, the husky that saved her life from imminent death. Nookie was spoiled with lots of treats and named an honorary Alaska State Trooper for its heroic efforts, but little did they know, this wasn't a first for the free-spirited husky. According to Scott, Nanook often disappeared for days at a time and returned home with hikers or skiers he met and traveled with along the trail, hence the reason he engraved the dog's collar with the title Crow Pass Guide Dog. After Amelia's rescue, however, Scott realized that his pet was doing much more than keeping hikers company. The dog, who Scott had rescued at an Adopt-a-Pet event in a local Walmart parking lot, had apparently made it its life's mission to rescue others. Nookie had saved 3 other hikers, and Scott said he kinda wouldn't doubt if there's more out there, so he started a Facebook page to find out. Within days, Scott heard dozens of stories about his dog rescuing a lot of hikers' lives. Just in case he's presented with the opportunity to rescue another hiker, the husky has been fitted with a GPS beacon on his collar. With a free spirit like that, I feel like I'd be keeping him in jail if I kept him tied up, Scott said. With such a heroic instinct, Nookie's ability to roam free doesn't only benefit it, but also everyone the hero husky encounters in its hikes and free walks. If there was any doubt whatsoever about how lucky Amelia Milling was, the rescue crew had been on 2 other search and rescue missions in the previous 24 hours, but both of those hikers had been brutally killed by bears. Amelia is still persistent and is determined to finish her Crow Pass hiking. However, this time she will make sure to do it with other people as well as Nanook.